Guys, Fulu coming to you with another commentary. It's been a while since I busted down with a commentary, so I think I'm just gonna do it. Um, so yeah, man. Uh, I want to say that you know there's so many enemies in this front in this gender war, but unfortunately, some of these enemies have a big platform in order to make it hard for the people who are fighting the just cause. You know what I mean? Um, but before I get into that, let me just show you this. And you never want to do this as a man. You never want to show this on social media as a man. You never want to do this, okay? Never do what this guy does, what I'm about to show you, okay? I went to the army so my wife and I can have a better life. Now, here's the thing about, now, granted, going to the army, you do get benefits, you do get veteran benefits and stuff like that. You do get those things, but at the end of the day, you're still a pawn. You know what I mean? At the end, when it comes down to it, you're still a pawn. But anyhow, let's get into it. How can I get shit right? So he went to the army. He had he went to the army. He for his wife to have a better life. Um, uh, no furniture. He comes back to the house, no furniture, no dogs, no valuables. Now she is in love with her new man and are expecting children. The thing is this. This dude made the mistake of being on her program. He didn't run his own program because notice he said he went to the army to make a better life for his wife. He didn't go to the army on his own, like his own, how should I say, his own desire to go to the army. He went to the army based on his wife. And you should never do that. You should never be compelled to do anything off of a woman. You should always be compelled to do things based off of your own desire to do them, never a woman's desire. That's why my desire to want to go to, like, for example, want to go to Chechnya and these places, wanting to go to the old USSR. This is not based off of my desire. This is not based off of any women. You know what I mean? This is based off my desire to learn more about their boxing and my desire to also see fellow Muslims from the other side of the world. And also the desire to, you know, basically learn more about the cohesions between us and them during our fight for independence in the decolonization of Africa. You know, it has nothing to do with women. So you should never, that's rule number one. You should never do things based off of a woman. Never do that. Never, ever do that. Now, here's another thing. I don't think I'm gonna go through the whole thing, but just understand that there are ops. You know, there are many ops. Okay? just to let you know there are ops. And this guy is a opt. This video was brought to my attention. Let me see. Let me see. Hold on, let me see. Okay, here we go. So this is a pastor by the name of Dr. Jamal Bryant. Let's just say he's a pulpit simp. And let's go ahead and get into it.
It's sexist. You're stepping into the Supreme Court right at the moment that the nation is exposing that it has no confidence in women making decisions about their own bodies. She stands stridently on the shoulders of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who, while being confirmed in 1993.
So you even see in the background of this pastor's church that he's promoting feminism. You know, he's just promoting this kind of like twisted ideology that really goes against the Bible in which he claims to follow. You know what I mean? The thing is about these pastors, for a lot of the time, these pastors, what they do is they claim they're like Bible scholars and stuff like that, but they're so far from Bible scholars. As a matter of fact, I know more about the Bible than they do. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Told the Senate Judiciary Committee the decision whether or not to bear a child is central to a woman's life, to her well-being, as well as her dignity. It is a decision that she must make for herself. When government controls that decision, she is being treated, so says Ginsburg, as less than a full adult.
But those same women didn't have problem with black people being treated less than a full adult with the 3/5 compromise, right?
"25 years later, when Vice President Kamala Harris was a senator and Brett Kavanaugh was up for their cards without their husband being an authorized signature. The evidence alone makes a compelling argument about this country being Christian."
This country never was Christian. What's Christian about annihilating a whole group of people based on your desire for industry in industrialization, and your desire for land, and your desire for like being just the order of the day? This country was never a Christian country.
Because a lot of our gender bias and sanctified misogyny is birthed out of the mishandled sacred scripture.
No, it's birthed out of the fact that you guys are shaitans. That's what it is. And it's birthed out. Don't blame the Bible for misogyny. Okay? Blame yourself. You guys have no control over yourself. That's what it all has the desire. That's what it all boils down to. It has nothing to do with any scriptures. It has nothing to do with any mishandling of any scriptures. Please stop it.
Comes out of colonized Christianity. A lot of misogynistic ministries don't mind sisters frying chicken, but won't let them be on the finance committee.
At the end of the day, if you're qualified to do something, you're qualified to do something. If you're not qualified to do something, then you're not qualified to do something. So please give me a break. Like this again, this guy is reaching. And let's another question to ask him too is, are there any what is his what is his what does his team look like? You know what I mean? Like what does his team look like? Are there any women on his team? Like, you know what I mean? Like, can we say that he there's women that are on his finance team, or this, that, and the other, while he's talking about, like, when he's talking about other ministries?
They can sing on the choir, but cannot have any keys to the church property. They can lead the prayer meeting, but they won't allow them to sit in the pulpit. A lot of these archaic, backwards, and ill-informed churches establish their ignorance out of 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 34 and 35. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 34 and 35 says that the woman should keep silent in the church, as the law also says. The conflict is that this verse doesn't stand in alignment with 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse number 5. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse number 5 says, but every woman who prays and prophesies has to do so with her head covered. In chapter 14, it says that women should be silent. But in chapter 11, it says that women pray and prophesy.
Well, what he's doing right now is he's basically showing the contradictions in his own book. And I don't know if he consciously knows that he's showing the contradictions in his own book. And the other thing too is, like, if that's the case, then why aren't your women covered in your church? And I'm not gonna lie to you, when you look at when you look at going to church, right? Because a couple of times I passed by churches and stuff like that, most women wear form-fitting clothes to go to church. They're not modest at all. They don't wear head coverings at all. So for him to mention that verse, he's not even fulfilling his own law, right? So I don't know what he's trying to say.
Paul is not rebuking them for praying and prophesying.
Well, that's Pauline. There you go, right there. Paul. That's all I needed to hear, really.
As a matter of fact, Paul is telling them how to do it. Says that when you pray, when you prophesy, then your head should be covered. Paul knew that there's no way in the world that you can stop a woman of God from praying.
Well, the fact that he says Paul knew, and he's not saying Jesus alayhi salam knew, tells you everything you need to hear. So again, this guy is showing that he doesn't even follow what Jesus brought. You know, he's following what Paul brought.
You remember that Canaanite woman in Matthew chapter 15, verse number 15. This mother is praying so intently that the people at the church feel like she's drunk. She says, I wonder how you're going to respond. But not only do they know how to pray, black mothers know how. But God kept providing for you in spite of it all. I'm talking about some mothers need to hear the sound of praying mothers right there.
As you see the audience, no head covering, fat, overweight, and single, belligerent women. It's all you see. Notice that, I'm just going to be honest. I mean, I know African churches are messed up too. Don't get it twisted. Trust me, they're jacked up too, and they're full of corruption as well. But it's just the same thing, man. It's just the same thing. I mean, at the end of the day, these people hold no merits, and they hold no moral. These people don't have any moral standards to really stand on. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
It's not just that mother in chapter 15 of Matthew, but you remember that Hannah prayed. First, hear this, out of great anguish and great sorrow. And heels and lipstick, but you don't know the days when they didn't feel that on the side of the bed and collected yourself until you felt reality. We'll pray for her child. Didn't have any money, but your children discouraged, and I'm praying out my heart under God. But God kept providing for you. Verse number 15, this mother is praying so intently that the people at the church feel like she, hear this, out of great anguish and great sorrow. The one thing that you got to know about a mother who knows how to pray is that a mother not only will pray for her child, she knows how to pray herself out of a situation. I need to hear.
So now he's pushing this whole, like, and to be honest with you, I don't think he knows what he's even saying. I don't even think he knows what he's pushing. I don't even think, to be honest with you, he's even measuring his words. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't think he's measuring his words. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's not measuring his words. That's the thing. You know, and because he's not measuring his words, he's doing what he's doing. You know, he's saying what he's saying. So he doesn't even understand that he's not even he's not doing these people any service. You know, he's not doing women any service in the long run. He's just furthermore making them more delusional. You know, but let's continue on.
The sound of mothers who had to be your own therapist, had to walk yourself through bouts of depression that your children never knew you were going through. I'm talking to some mothers who went through some dark seasons where you couldn't even talk about it. You didn't even want to burden the family.
Most of those mothers don't cause that dark season, though. That's the thing. They caused that dark season by their selection of Pookie, Ray Ray, Tyrone, and Chad, and Miguel. That dark season could have been avoided most of the time, but, you know, what do I know? I'm just a black African immigrant who saw it firsthand go down for many years.
But you sat on the side of the bed and collected corrected yourself until you felt God shift some things. I'm talking to some mothers who had to sit in the car before you ever got in the house so the children wouldn't even know what you were going.
But you're not talking about the men though who have to do that, because they're dealing with these same mothers that you're talking about, you know.
I'm talking about some mothers who went through days you didn't have any money, but your children didn't know how bad it was. But God kept providing for you in spite of it all. I'm talking about some mothers that had to pray for the children's father who was absent, but you still covered for the Negro, still did double.
Okay, here's where the problem is. Here's where the problem is. Okay, so talking about the absentee fathers, but you're not talking about what caused the absentee fathers. You're not talking about the fact that they chose this man to be the father of their kids. You're not talking about the fact that sometimes these mothers didn't even want the father in the life when the father wanted to be in their kids' life, when the father wanted to be an upstanding father, when the father wanted to instill certain values on the kid. But because of the mom's bitterness, they were not able to. You're not talking about that though. You're talking about, I don't need no man. I can raise my kid by myself. I can be a mother and a father to my kids. You're talking about that.
Over time, you refuse to be bitter and angry. You refuse to.
That's a lie. That's a blatant lie. What are most single black women right now? Bitter and angry, and mad at black dudes, no matter where they come from. I'll give you a story. This is how much I protect my energy. I'm not gonna even lie to you. This is how deep I protect my energy. But there was a time that I was waiting on an elevator, and there was this she was a masculine bonquisha. Let's just say that she was a masculine bonquisha. She's like, "Are you getting on or not?" And I said, "You know what? Let me protect my energy." And I said, "Nah, it's cool. I'm waiting for someone downstairs." This is how angry and upset they are at niggas who didn't even do anything to them. And many may argue, including this chump on the screen, that, oh, you're just too weak and stuff like that. Oh, you can't handle a strong black woman. No, it's that I have to protect my energy. That's what it is. Because again, I just not that I care or not that I care or not that I really care or put stock into these character tests, but someone, like, I did a character test of like which character are you in that game. I don't know if y'all played that game, God of War, and the character I got Kratos, you know, the main character, and Kratos has a temper problem. And when my energy is disturbed and stuff like that, you'll see a side of me that you'll be like, oh crap, why did I even do this? Why did I even do this to this guy? You know what I mean? So that's why I protect my energy, to protect myself. It has nothing to do with a quote unquote strong black woman. It has to do with protecting myself.
Your sanctity, your morality, or your character. I'm looking for praying women. Y'all are looking at them with these dresses and heels and lipstick, but you don't know the days when they didn't feel like brushing their hair, didn't feel like brushing their teeth, but they.
Oh, those days are still going on, buddy. I mean, have you ever seen bonnets? the girls who wear bonnets. Those days are still happening.
He said, through it all, I learned to trust in Jesus. Black mothers know how to pray for children, and they know how to pray for themselves. But not only do they know how to pray, black mothers know how to prophesy.
Wow, this guy is really gassing these women up. This is sad. This is sad. Basically, what I'm getting at is the worst enemy is this pulpit simp who tells women what they want to hear and not what they need to hear. This is one of the biggest enemies.
Acts chapter 2, verse number 17 says, in that last day, I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Fibroids, but he was wounded for your transgression. He was bruised for your iniquity. And by his stripes you shall be healed. How can a man say that you are of low value after 35? How can a man say that you do not have the level of... I don't care what kind of man of God you claim to be. If you don't have an authentic woman of God in your life who can hold you into accountability.
Okay, so here we go. Here we go. Let's dissect this idiot, and then we'll end it here.
When there is a prophet, then there's got to be somebody to confirm the prophecy. Paul is heavy on headship, and so he understood that.
You notice one thing about this sermon, though. You notice one thing about the sermon. It could be me, but has he said the word Jesus alayhi salam once since we've been through this whole thing, or has he mentioned Paul and has not even said like Jesus alayhi salam? You know, it could be me. Maybe he said it, but I haven't heard him say it.
Women have the gift of prophecy, but he was in fact putting a short gap in place in the event that the woman of God is married to a man of God. Y'all ain't ready for me in here, because Paul did not want the woman to check the man. Y'all ain't ready for this kind of preacher. Paul made the controversial statement for insecure preachers to be okay. Y'all ain't saying nothing to me. I don't care what kind of man of God you claim to be. If you don't have an authentic woman of God in your life who can hold you into accountability.
But do you have that authentic woman of God you're speaking of? Do you have that? Do you have that in your life?
Then your gift ain't going nowhere. Many of you all are quoting that a woman ought to submit. She ain't supposed to submit to any man. She's supposed to submit to a man who is submitted under God. If he ain't submitted, don't you buck your knee. You better stand right there until you find a man.
But you know, it takes like I guess you can say energy is real, and it takes like it takes energy to match energy. So I think that if a woman is about God and is about learning and bettering herself, and I'm speaking from an Islamic perspective, that woman is going to draw a man who is like-minded. But when the woman is not like that, do you think a man who wants to be like, who's aspiring to be like that, do you think he's gonna give her the time of day? No.
You are listening to men who have no authority.
Yeah, like you.
How can a man say that you are of low value after 35?
Okay, well, here's the thing. Like, again, we're just speaking. Let's take religion out of it. Let's take religion out of this whole equation. Let's take Christianity. Let's take Buddhism. Let's take Islam. Let's take all of that out of the equation. Who, who, like, as a man, who in their right mind would want a 35-year-old woman who probably has baggage, probably has bitterness, and if we add her being a single mother into the equation, has a kid, while the guy maybe doesn't have any kids. Now, I can understand if the guy has kids and you want to bring the families together. I get that. Okay, yeah, I get it. But if the guy doesn't have any kids, then why would he like entertain, like, why would he do that to himself? Why would he put himself in that situation, right?
How can a man say that you do not have the level of traction of a high-powered man when that man has got to get a GoFundMe for his funeral?
That's a lie. And Kevin Samuels' family confirmed that's cap. You know, it was a fake GoFundMe account. That's cap.
Y'all ain't saying nothing to me. You got to be in a place where you operate in the authority of God. Look at another sister around and tell them, it's not that I hate men. Come on, look at another sister, say, I do.
They do hate men, though. That's the thing. They especially one thing I do notice too. This is one thing because I talk to a lot of my fellow Muslim comrades, be it they be from Senegal, like be it they be from the same place as me, Senegal, Nigeria. I talked to a couple of Ivorians and stuff like that, and they all tell me the same thing. Most American village women do hate black men, and they do hate Muslim black men, especially. You know, especially the African Muslim black man. They definitely hate him. You know, because if he hasn't been died down and he's holding on to tradition, then they hate him because he's not going to take any crap.
I hate men. I just despise weak men. I despise cowardice men.
So their definition, the thing is their definition of a coward is wanting to avoid prison and wanting to avoid death for some stupid reason. That's their definition of a coward. He's not talking about he refuses to talk about their choices in men and what they desire. He's not talking about that. He's just gassing them up, gassing them up, gassing them up. That's all he's doing.
I just ain't got time for men who are insecure about my gift. I'm not going to dummy down because of what God got me. I don't have to lower my standard. That man got to step all the way up to deal with a queen on my level.
Okay, that's all I need to hear from this bot. But that's you know, that's the problem. That's the problem with and I'm just saying that, like, on just a Western society level, this is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with guys who do have these platforms and who are gassing these women up to furthermore be more delusional. So that's another enemy. You know, it's not only the women who have placed themselves as enemies, it's also some men who enable these women. But, you know, this dude threw jabs at Kevin Samuels and stuff like that, but I don't think he even has a woman, the God-fearing woman that he speaks of, you know. So, with that being said, that's another op. You know, so not only there's a couple of enemies on different fronts. Number one, you have the modern Western woman who is the I guess you can say the head of it all. Number two, you have the guys who want to be Pookie and Ray Ray, Chad and Miguel, and they will do anything to earn their stripes to do that. That includes sabotaging you. And then number three, you have the beta simps who unfortunately sometimes have a pulpit to speak on, like we just saw. But with that being said, stay alert, stay ready, stay um stay always thinking ahead. Being in the moment but thinking ahead. And with that being said, Full is signing out. I'm Jad Atma.